Hey, Tasha.
Hey, Cheron, how are you?
I'm good. You see me? Yeah, we're gonna do a wave. I'm sorry. I gotta stay off rip. I am repping up Linden, down Linden, and you can't see but and across the tracks. Shout out to my guy, John Scott. You know, he put the sweatshirts out there. He got the people repping the 07036. So, but let's get ready and let's get our watch party started. I can never do this very well. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Let's see if anybody in Daytona Beach is watching it so they can get me a sweatshirt.
Girl, do you talk to your people in Daytona Beach? That is
I talk to my mom every day. What you talking about?
Your mama ain't making no t-shirts, okay? You gotta talk to the people. You know, where Facebook is great for me is that I'm able to stay in touch with my high school friends because I haven't been there in a while. I haven't lived there in many years, but those are the people. Those are the people. Okay. That's gracious.
There's quite a delay on Facebook today.
There is quite the delay on Facebook.
But we're going to get it together. So let's tell the people who we are.
That's right. I am Cheron. I am in Huntersville, North Carolina right now. And you are who?
I'm Tasha Howland, and I'm in Bowie, Maryland. And we are the Accountability Queens.
Yes. And what we do is that we bring women or men together and help identify their perfect accountability partner. Tasha has been my accountability partner for the past 9 years. And having an accountability partner has helped me really to reach a lot of the goals that I've set for myself that I wasn't necessarily doing on my own. Be it both financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, we've been helped one another. What about you, Tasha? How's it helped you?
Yeah. So we were just talking about this before we got started tonight. You know, for me as a mom and a wife and a sister and, you know, working full time and, you know, being an advocate in the special needs community, you know, serving others, this relationship is an opportunity to be a little selfish, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody.
Yeah, to take some time for myself and really focus on some of the things that I want to do for myself, which sometimes may include my family, but sometimes, you know, it doesn't, right? As a person, I had goals and ideas and dreams before I got married and had kids, and so some of those things I still want to go after, and so this relationship allows me to be selfish. I like it.
And I want to say, I gotta say how super proud I am of you for going after your second master's degree, your MBA. We are those folks who like to get lots of education. I don't know why, but super proud of you. I know it's hard, but you are putting in the work, and you're still going to the gym, and not just any gym. You're still doing the CrossFit gym. Let me tell you, as soon as my back gets right, I'm back in there with you.
Right.
All right.
So speaking of working out, you know how I love a challenge and taking on other things in my life. This month, I took on the challenge of doing 26.2 miles over 17 days. I think
marathon.
It's a marathon, but it's a marathon over 17 days, not in one day, right? I'm not that guy. That is not on my bucket list. But, you know, I feel like this story is really good from an accountability standpoint because the challenge was supposed to be done today, right?
Yeah.
And I'm 6 miles short, right? I haven't finished my 26.2 miles, but I have a team of people that committed to doing this with me, and I will finish, right? It's likely that I'm going to get up in the morning and take that hour to do those 6 miles tomorrow. But, you know, it's the power of accountability, right? Because I know that somebody else is watching my miles and that, you know, I'm in this challenge with other people, that accountability is going to keep me going. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to Team Peyton. We've had, you know, a crew of folks that have been with us for the past 8 years, and we run in the Baltimore Running Festival every year, which actually would have been today.
Yeah.
If not for COVID. but we've got some finishers. There are some people that did finish their 26-mile challenge, and some people that are like me that haven't finished yet.
Okay.
But listen, keep going, right? Finish what you say you're going to do. Even if it wasn't by the 17th, just press and get it done. So I just, I thank Team Peyton so much.
Yeah.
I can't call names because, the way my memory.
Name. Am I still considered Team Peyton? Am I still, even though I never run.
You never run, but you're definitely part of Team Peyton. You donate every year, right? And so, yes, shout out to those people that also donate every year. I appreciate you guys so much. And we do really great work raising money for the foundation to be able to help other families of kids with CDLS. And so, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But I'm very proud of your team and that you also surpassed your goal financially.
That's right.
Yeah. So today.
Well, I want to say one more thing before we go today. I'm watching the comments, so shout out to people that are joining us.
Yes.
Gail is with us this evening. Thank you. Gail, I was running and walking. I'm not really a runner. I run sometimes during this, race for Peyton, but I did a little running and walking for my 26 miles. And Natasha is on. Hey, Queens.
Hey, Natasha. So that's actually the perfect segue. Friend Natasha, AQ Nation, she's a queen out here in North Carolina. Natasha sent me an email saying, you got to have this bad sister on your show. Y'all are always trying to spread light and share light. Dr. Princess Williams is a breast surgeon. She was like, you all know this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I was like, absolutely right. And she already had the friendship in place. And I love it when the AQ Nation comes in and helps us out. Because when this is easy as text message, can you do Saturday? Can you do Saturday at 6? Appreciate you. We love you. So tonight, joining us is Dr. Princess Williams, who is a breast surgeon. Wow. With the breast care specialist of North Carolina. And in prepping for this, I'm going to say, Tasha and I prep for every interview that we do and every talk and chat that we have. And we were looking at, tips and what you think, and sometimes people like, myself included, I think I know everything. Yeah, I do.
No way. No.
There's no way. Oh, that's funny. That's cute. No one likes to know it all. Okay, so Dr. Princess Williams is here to kind of help us understand more with how things have advanced, dispel some myths, give us greater understanding, because we are talking about tatas tonight. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Princess Williams. How are you, Doc?
Doing good, ladies. Thanks for having me. I'm glad that you all are going to hold me accountable tonight.
Yes. Yes. Listen, first of all, just impressed. We love to shine light on people who are shining light. And I know you are out here saving lives every day as a breast surgeon. So, it's just an honor for us to have you on our AQ chat to talk about breast care and breast health this month.
Awesome. I'm happy to be here.
All right. So we've heard, so we're just going to start off because this is where Tasha and I, we really learned a lot preparing. So we understand that we're supposed to be checking our breasts monthly, but what else should we know about self-checks? Because I understand there's more than just looking for a lump or something. What else should we be looking for?
Well, one of the things I will say is that some of the larger societies have gotten to where they are discouraging self-breast exams.
Really?
I am not on that side of things.
Wow.
But I believe that has come into play because they have a lot of people who I guess are, now checking their breasts and they're, I guess, getting overly anxious about it. Okay. And so they're coming in because they're feeling things that aren't really anything. And then, it's leading to what they are calling a lot of unnecessary visits. However, I completely disagree.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I'm not a gambler, right? So I'm not one of those ones that goes to Vegas and bets a lot. Like if I'm up $10, I'm cashing out, right? So I am not a gambler. If I feel something, it doesn't matter if it's nothing. I need to go in and get checked and see whether or not it's something. So once again, I'm on the side of check your breasts. And, I will say that it is just a monthly thing. So a lot of people do start, they start going over the top, and they're every day they feeling around, and, and that may be a bit much. Okay. So, once a month is really all you have to do. And you pick the same day every month, right? So if it's 15th when you paying bills, cool. That's when you do it, but you pick the same time a month, because your breasts, they are typically the same, when every month at that particular time.
Okay.
And so, if you're a woman who has, you get a lot of pain around time of your menstrual cycle, obviously don't pick that as your time.
Okay.
But, just pick your time a month, you do it. And then you also want to make sure that you do it the same way every time.
Okay.
So I say you either do it while you're standing up in the shower. That's typically what I do. You have your arm above your head because you want to be able to make sure that you can get everywhere. But, you do it either while you're standing up or lying down. If you have larger breasts, which I'm not very large up top at all, but if you have larger breasts, it may be easier to do it when you're lying down. Right. Because breast tissue can kind of fall back, and you can, do a little bit more by way of that. But, so pick your one time a month, do it the same way every time, standing up, laying down. But the other thing to not forget is a inspection. You need to look at yourself in the mirror. Right. There's so much you can see looking down, whether you're large or small. It's only so much you can see looking down. So you need to, no matter how, however you think you look, it doesn't matter. It's you. Look at yourself in the mirror.
Okay.
Right? That way you can see, first of all, the underside. You can see like if there's any retraction or pulling in of the skin. You can see if there's any redness on the breast that you couldn't have seen from up top. So you're looking for 1,000,001 different things that if you just stand in the mirror for a second and take a look, see, if your nipples are inverted or going in. If they haven't always been like that and now they are, that could potentially be a problem,
Wow. I mean, these are things that, this is what Tasha and I talked about. Like, these are things that I really didn't know. Like, I knew the check for and look for a lump, and then all this other stuff was new to me.
So my question is, do our breasts also have cycles? Because you said that they feel the same around the same time every month. So like, could they be lumpier or harder at a different time of month?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I'm saying you pick that one time a month, because your breasts go through changes just like your body does, right? As women, we have our cyclical levels of estrogen and progesterone that follow our menstrual cycle. And even if you're postmenopausal, same thing. Even if you've had, hysterectomy, your ovaries are gone, there are other parts of your body that still makes estrogen, right? And so for that reason, you want to make sure that you continue to, do just that. You need to continue to do your exams, because you need to be able to know, okay, that particular part of the month, things are going to feel, the same if you continue to do it, the same time a month. So, it's definitely something that we need to be cognizant of. Can you ladies, by the way?
Say it again.
Can y'all still see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right, because I can't see y'all anymore.
We're here.
Okay. All right, I'll keep talking then.
Yes.
Okay. One of the other statistics that we saw is that, Black women and white women get breast cancer at about the same rate, but that Black women die from breast cancer at a higher rate than white women. Why is that?
Why is that?
So I'm going to be honest with you. I think a big factor is access to care.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that there are racial disparities, whether we want to, believe it or not. Racial disparities exist not only for women, but for Black women in particular.
Right.
We're the minority on both sides of that. And so, it's one of those things where you have to be able to get care to be able to be obviously seen about, diagnosed, and that kind of thing. So if you aren't able to get in to be seen, and it's down the road when you finally get in, of course your cancer is going to be more advanced, so that's one of the things. In addition to that, Black women do tend to, we have something called, and y'all have probably heard of this, triple negative breast cancer. We have a higher rate of that, and that is a more aggressive form of breast cancer that, although we get these breast cancers at the same rate, if you will. The triple negatives, they're more aggressive because they're not driven by estrogen, which most breast cancers are.
Okay.
Right. And so with that said, you can't take a pill. Like, I don't know if you've heard of tamoxifen, and there's certain kind of breast cancer blocking agents, but there's certain pills that you can take to decrease the risk of breast cancer coming back. But if you have that triple negative subtype of breast cancer, that pill won't even work for you. So you can't even put that in your arsenal to be able to try to fight it, because that's not what fed your cancer in the first place.
Wow.
So I think access to care is a big issue. And then not only that, when we get in the hospital, I think a lot of times they treat us differently.
Absolutely.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
And especially if you're a person who doesn't ask questions and you just kind of go along with things or whatever, like, I think that they kind of put us off and they treat us differently.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna share a personal story. So I had a mammogram about 3-4 weeks ago, and I got a call back, right? And this was my first mammogram. I'm not 40 yet, but this was my first mammogram. So I'm going in like, boom, let's just get this thing knocked out. It's nothing. Go back to work,
Yeah.
So the next day, my physician texts me and says, because I ordered my own stuff and just, But anyway, she said, "Hey girl, I got your mammogram back. Everything all right?" So I'm like, what's she talking about? So she sent me the report, and the hospital hadn't even called me yet. But she sent me the report that says, you have dense breast tissue. Anybody who's had a mammogram, you probably heard that. Right. But, and we see something in the left breast, you need to have additional views. So I'm sitting here like, okay, right. Cool. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm already formulating in my mind. All right, if it's this, I know where I'm going. Like, boom, right. I'm, all these different things. But then the next thing is, so I wait on them to call me. I don't get a call that day. That next morning, they called and said, hey, we need to get you in for additional views and additional pictures, but they were trying to book me out 3 weeks. No, not going to happen. But for someone who does not know any better, they don't know like 3 weeks is not acceptable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, So my answer, my response to that was, go ahead and print me out my CD. I'm on my way to get it, and I'll go somewhere else. Next thing you know, they get me in the top of the next week. You see what I'm saying? Because like you can't do games with these people. And not only that, who want to wait 3 weeks to go get additional pictures? No. And then who knows whatever after that? You know what I'm saying? No. So access to care is a big thing. You know what I'm saying? And being an advocate for yourself. And for your family members and friends and stuff. I mean, it's a big deal. So that on top of the more aggressive forms of breast cancer that we get, survival is going to be worse.
Wow.
Yeah. So definitely factorial.
We have a question from the audience. I mean, I think you just hit on it, but it says, what if you check and you think you feel something, but your OBGYN says it's nothing? Should you get a second opinion?
Absolutely. Get 15 of them if you need to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious. You know what I'm saying? Like if something isn't setting right with you, somebody tells you it's okay, but you just like, you don't have that feeling for no reason. Go get a million different, and even my patients that I diagnose and I tell them what my suggested treatment algorithm is, I am not upset, not one bit, if you tell me you want a second opinion. Matter of fact, I encourage you to get another opinion.
Sure. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I find it strange. Oh, I'm sorry, Cheron. I find it strange that the folks that are giving the mammograms don't have the same sense of urgency that we would as women, right?
Yeah.
I had the exact same situation that you had, right? And my repeat images are scheduled for October 26th, which is, still 2 weeks from now.
Right.
And they called with no sort of, don't worry about anything. This typically happened. There was no like bedside manner. It's just like, yep, you got to come back. Like who wants to live with that anxiety for 2 weeks?
Right.
I think that, in the medical field, I'm just speaking on the medical field, like I don't know about other professions, but I think in the medical field in general, you have a lot of physicians who get jaded. You know what I'm saying? Like they kind of lose sight of what's really important. You just going through the motions, you just getting stuff done. You've lost the personal side.
Right.
And in my opinion, as a physician, if and when you lose that personal connection, it's time for you to get up out of there. You need to find something else to do. Because when you can't relate to a person on that level, every single person that I talk to, and it's obviously mostly 98% of females, I think about if this was my mother, if this were my sister. Because, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, we in this together. And that's how you should think about it. And if I ever get to the point where I don't think about it like that anymore, I need to just go ahead and hang it up, white coat on the back of the door. You know, it's over. And that's really what should happen. But I think they become jaded. They don't really, you know, it's just turning them out. I got to get this done, you know.
Yeah.
So that's actually bringing me to something, like a lot of things that you're saying is resonating with me. So my grandmother passed away just over a year ago, and it was very difficult for my family, my mom and my aunts, to get information, for her to want to share her information, her medical information, right? So there were a lot of things going on that they couldn't even help, right? Mm-hmm. So what do we do with our older family members who are just difficult and resistant, right? Because some people are just resistant to getting checks. Some people are just resistant to going to doctors. But then some people are just unwilling to receive the support that they need. I mean, what can you do or say?
So that could be a little tricky, but that is particularly important, and I think it happens a lot in the African American community.
Sure.
You know, we don't divulge information, and I've talked about this several times before, in several talks, just about us like talking about what's going on. You need to know your family history because it could save your life. You know, like I always say, like, we don't know what aunt whoever had because we just know, she died of old age. Or, she died of, it was some female cancer, and if that's the case, more than likely it was breast cancer, right? So we don't really know those things because our grandparents, they don't talk about that kind of stuff. And so I think it can be particularly tricky trying to get that information from them. But I think, honestly, if you just have a sit down with grandma, a sit down with mom and say, look, we need to, while we still here and while we're still able to discuss these things, we need to know what's going on, not only on mom's side of the family, but dad's side of the family, because both of those things matter just as much. And speaking of that, breast cancer you can get from your dad's side as well. A lot of people think that you can't. You can. It's important to know both sides, so, just sit down and have those difficult conversations. Like, look, we need to know, and even things as simple as, man, I'm getting on up there. I wonder when I'm going to go into menopause. It's all you got to do is ask your mom, how old were you when you went into menopause? When you start having to take your socks off and put your feet on the wooden floor or on the floor, because that's what my mama used to do. You know what I'm saying? She had to put her feet on the floor, non-carpeted floor. We're like, oh, here she go again. So whatever that age was, probably about when I'm going to go through menopause. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, good Lord. But anyway, you have to sit down and have those difficult conversations, because like I said, that can make a big difference. That can change even when you start getting screening,
Yeah.
Because it's not a cut and dry, start at 40. Because as a matter of fact, you're supposed to get your first mammogram at 35 now. A lot of people don't know that,
Right. Wow.
So
Cheron, the AIM needs to do some conversation cards around this,
So that
somebody needs to do some conversation cards around this, because oftentimes you don't even know the questions to ask until you have an issue, right?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Oh, now this is coming up for me. Now I'm thinking about it. Let me talk to my, my family about it to see where else it's coming from,
That's right. That's right.
That's.
Let's see. Another question from the audience. What are the best screening options for women with dense breasts?
3D mammograms. 3D mammograms. So, it's no different as far as how it's done than just a traditional mammogram. You get squeezed top to bottom, side to side. You get a little oblique view as well. But the way it's done is no different than traditional 2D mammography. But and it's really just a difference in the technology in the actual mammography unit. They're then able to look at your breast in 1 millimeter slices. So they slice up the breast like similar to the thickness of the pages of a book. And they literally flip through your breast, in that fine detail. as opposed to just looking at these 2 or 3 static pictures that you get with 2D mammography. So 3D mammography decreases the callback rate. So it decreases me and Tasha getting that call, even though I had a 3D one anyway. But it decreases us getting those calls saying, hey, we need some more pictures. And then ultrasound can be used to kind of complement that as well, to answer that question. But mammography is the gold standard.
Are the second images 3D images typically?
Yes. If they got 3D first go around, they're gonna get 3D second go around. And if the first go around was not 3D, tell them you want 3D. Repeat images, and they'll just, the compression will be a little bit more because they're trying to zone in on that, whatever the the worrisome area is. Sure. But typically, if they start 3D, they're going to be 3D going forward. And then you just if it wasn't like that on the first go round, just request it.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I mean, if you know you have dense breasts, can I go in and say, I've had this history. I don't want the callback. Can we just start with 3D?
Absolutely, you can. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about prevention. Again, Tasha and I were preparing for this, and we read a lot of things that there was quite a few clutch to pearl moments. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Right, because we started reading things and it looked like I had to get rid of shampoo. I had to stop getting relaxer in my hair.
Come on now.
Stop getting your nails done.
Come on now.
I mean, it was a lot of stuff on this list, and I'm like, all of this can't be true. Like, so what are the things that we need to know to have good breast care help and preventative, and what things should we just stay away from?
Okay. So the 2 most common risk factors for breast cancer are being a woman and getting older. All right. So can't do anything about either of those. Those are the 2 main things. There are a list of modifiable things, obviously, and there's some things that we can't modify. But those are 2 of the things that drastically increase the risk, obviously. Okay. And anything else that is going to increase your overall estrogen exposure over your lifetime. Right. So having your first period young, meaning like 9, 10 years old, having no children, or start having children later, meaning over 35. Being on birth control increases your risk. Increased alcohol use increases your risk. Obviously, a family history is going to increase your risk. Estrogen use, specifically for women who are postmenopausal, right? A lot of them are, on estrogen for obvious reasons, and that increases your risk. So I mean, there are a lot of things that that we can change, but there's some that we cannot. Like I said, family history, genetics, age, that kind of thing. But as far as the modifiable things, being overweight and obesity, right? Those things increase your risk. So a lot of people don't realize that your fat cells have estrogen in them. All right. So if you are heavier, you have higher estrogen levels, generally speaking, and that increases your risk. So things like exercise are going to help. Eating fruits and vegetables are going to help. And then, as far as things that would decrease the risk, right? So, and like we talked about being smaller, exercise and things like that, but hair dyes, relaxers, deodorant, none of that has anything to do with breast cancer. So continue to get the creamy crack, if that's what y'all call it, continue to get that. If that's your thing, cool. Use whatever deodorant is going to work for you, because it's in North Carolina and it's hot. You got to use what deodorant works for you. Aluminum, it don't matter in it. It's fine. There's not been, and at one point, there was a big debate out there about the type of deodorant and stuff like that, but none of that has been proven, particularly aluminum containing deodorants. And then sugar. So a lot of people, like talk about sugar, and especially older people, like, sugar making cancer cells. No. Sugar in and of itself does not have anything to do with increasing your breast cancer risk. Okay. I like to talk about moderation. Anything in moderation is generally okay, right? But elevated or, a decent amount of sugar use increases your risk of being overweight and obese, which then increases your risk for breast cancer. But sugar in and of itself does not play any role as far as feeding or fueling cancer, if you will. And then one other thing that I'll bring up is, we now do, the way that we diagnose breast cancer is a biopsy, right? And typically we do that in the office or, in the unit where you're having your mammogram done. And so a lot of people say, oh, no, we can't do that. Cause if cancer, if air get into cancer, it's going to make it go everywhere.
Yeah. I've heard that. Yes.
No.
Okay. That's not true. Okay.
No, not the case at all. Not the case at all. And if you have someone taking you to the operating room to diagnose a cancer in the breast, you need to go somewhere else because they practice in medicine from 30 years ago. Typically, it's just a biopsy in the office. Like I said, if they can see it by ultrasound, it's typically done in the office. I do those in my office. And then if it's something that they only see with a mammogram, then they'll do it using mammography as the directed means to actually get the sample of breast tissue. But that's old school, going to the operating room to diagnose something.
Yeah. We had a question from the audience. Can you demand a mammogram if the doctor states that you don't meet the age requirements?
Well, I think demand is a strong word, but you can seek a second opinion. So here's the deal. So a lot of times, it is age dependent. But if you feel something or if there is pain or something like that, there's no reason why that they should tell you that you can't have a mammogram.
Right.
That doesn't really make much sense. And so honestly, if you're having problems getting in or being able to schedule a mammogram, because a lot of times, sometimes you have to have it scheduled by a physician. Mm-hmm. But if they're giving you problems, I would seek a breast specialist because they know the ways to be able to, get that kind of stuff done. So, yeah.
Good. Is there another question,
Tasha? From the group, yeah. We have one more. Some women are hesitant to seek medical attention for fear of a diagnosis, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we help each other deal with the anxiety of a potential diagnosis of breast cancer? How can we help each other?
Well, honestly, I'm a spiritual person. I'm Christian. And I'm one of those people that I truly believe. You have to have faith. You have to, you have to believe in God to take care of you, to follow your steps and that kind of thing. But you also have to trust and believe, okay, he gave me common sense too. Right. So I can't deal with something that I don't know whether or not it exists or not.
Yeah.
Right. So, when I went back to go get my additional views, I'm sitting there like, okay, now if these people tell me I have cancer, it's definitely, it's not going to be the best day of my life, but at the same time, I know what I'm dealing with, and then I can pull in my support. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So in my opinion, it's always best to know what you're dealing with. And if you can figure that out on the early side, you can best deal with it. You have a lot of people too, who are religious, but they seem to be almost more fanatical. Because they're like, well, the Lord just, he performs miracles. And I honestly believe that he does perform miracles.
Sure.
At the same time, he also gave us physicians,
mm-hmm.
To be able to help you, to guide you through on this side, and so, I'm just one of those people. If I know what I'm dealing with, first of all, I want to know it earlier, but I can deal with it better if I know what I'm dealing with, as opposed to now I'm up all night because I don't know what's going on.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So if you can figure it out on the early side, the earlier the better, obviously, then you pull your support in. I feel like that's just the best way to go, because not knowing, you and your circle going to be like, okay, well, we don't even know we don't even know what we tripping about, really.
Right.
Well, could be nothing. So find out, then tackle it. Then you talked about doing your miles and stuff, and I always talk about breast cancer is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You know, I mean, you take each hurdle as it comes, right? And it may be the first hurdle, may be chemotherapy. The next hurdle may be surgery. The next one may be radiation. The next one may be taking that hormone blocking pill. Then the next one is survivorship.
Yes.
You know, so you just kind of have to take it, you know, just kind of take it as it comes, and just, you know, don't lose sight of the big picture, but just focus on what's the next thing. Let me just get to this next thing and get over that. Then when I get over that, then I'll worry about the next hurdle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I'm better equipped, in my opinion, to deal with things, which once again, you don't lose sight of the big picture, but you don't want to overwhelm yourself either by worrying about, okay, what about 5 years down the road? Honey, look, I got to get through this chemotherapy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
One step at a time.
Take care of these kids. And you see what I'm saying? Like, let me just do the next little thing. But then you're better able to bring your circle in to be able to help you through everything, you know, when you know what you're dealing with.
Yeah. So, Dr. Williams, so one thing we haven't talked about, and I just saw a headline and looked like Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's father, may have been diagnosed with breast cancer just about a week or so ago. Again, I only saw the headline, so I don't really know, but I think that's what I saw.
Yeah.
What do we need to do for the men in our life, right? Because we never think about breast cancer as a men's disease. We only think about it as a woman's disease. So what do we do for the men in our life?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes to medicine and men, the two things do not mix.
Ooh. They
don't mix, because they don't want to tell you they got a problem. Then they definitely don't want to go to the doctor. And then don't even talk about breast. I ain't got no breast. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it can be difficult. But the thing is, 1 in 100 men will get breast cancer in their lifetime. That is astonishing.
Yeah.
You know, 1% of men will have breast cancer in their lifetime. And honestly, when you do have a man that has breast cancer, you definitely, you know, your alert should go up, because, you know, you definitely, they need to be tested to see if they have one of those genetic mutations, because a male breast cancer definitely makes everyone on high alert, right? You want to see if they have one of those BRCA mutations, which is the most common genetic mutation. But honestly, you know, there's no recommended screening for men, right? So we obviously not sending men to get mammograms routinely, not telling them to do self exams, but new breast pain in a man, you know, I mean, generally speaking, that usually doesn't happen. So new breast pain in a man, a lump. I mean, because that's the thing. Most of the time they come in because they have a lump in their breast.
Mm-hmm. So you're already a level of in progression if you got a lump.
Because the vast majority of the time, if you have a lump, it's at least stage 1, at least. Whereas if it's just something that's maybe small and just maybe calcifications on a mammogram in a woman, it very well could be stage 0. So because they're not getting screening, they're not doing exams, the vast majority of the time they're going to come in because it's a lump, and they're probably coming in at the urging of their significant other, right? After they've complained, and then finally she got him to go in, kind of thing. So, you know, it's just one of those things we have to tread lightly, because, you know, it's even difficult to use the word breast when you're talking about a man, because they don't truly think that they have breast tissue. And granted, it's, you know, much smaller amount than we do, but they do have breast tissue, you know? And so pain, lump, that kind of thing. I mean, you know, you need to get in to be seen, because once again, early detection is key, even for men. So.
Yeah.
What made you go into this specialty area?
Well, I'll be honest with you. When I started off, I was going to be a heart surgeon.
Wow.
No, I mean, I'm still in the same general area, but actually growing up, and I think since maybe age 5 or 6, I've always said I wanted to be a doctor. I mean, I don't know. I guess it was just cool. But as I got a little older, I attended some doctor's visits with my great grandmother. And she ended up having to have some some carotid surgery, which are the vessels in your neck. And so it's a cardiovascular surgeon that does that type of surgery, or a vascular surgeon. And so during that time, this was before HIPAA was like just super, super tight. And so he asked me, he knew I wanted to be a doctor, and he asked me, had I thought about being a surgeon? And I said, well, no, sir. And he asked me, did I want to come to the operating room with him? And so boom, went to the operating room, stood up top where anesthesia stands, looking down, chest wide open, was absolutely amazed. Boom, this is what I'm going to do. I'm sold. And so that was my track. I was going to be a cardiovascular surgeon until about my third year of general surgery residency. And I met a young lady who she was pregnant. She was young, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to follow her through her course, through having the mastectomy, through having the baby, then having chemotherapy afterward, et cetera, et cetera. And it really just opened my eyes, because my family, we don't have a history of breast cancer or anything like that. So it's nothing that I've necessarily been exposed to.
Sure.
But I'm a people's person, and I obviously love surgery. So I figured this would be a better way for me to be able to have a relationship with my patients. I can still be in the operating room, which is what I absolutely love, but I can have a relationship with my patients. I can know, what are their children's names? What school do they go to? How's your husband John doing? You know what I'm saying? Like those kinds of things. And so it gave me the better of both worlds. So here I am.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, sorry. Just a comment. Nikki says, one more reason why men need a woman, male breast cancer.
There you go. Pick up that cancer. Go to the doctor.
Wow. Well, Dr. Williams, on behalf of Tasha and I want to thank you for joining us today. You've certainly enlightened us. I'm happy to know that we have a caring individual like you in the medical profession, especially here in the North Carolina area. If anyone is interested, Dr. Williams is the breast care specialist of North Carolina. You all can find that online. But I just want to thank you for just breaking it down in just plain language for us, right? That's just so important, that we're able to hear things in ways that we just can understand, and we can talk to one another and share it a lot easier that way.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. Well, to everyone who has joined in, do we have any more comments, Tasha? Do I see one more?
Just says amazing. Thank you. We had, keep it real, Princess Williams. You got a fan club out here.
Yes.
I got a couple of sisters over here on the timeline. Elle Bell, Jamaica Williams, Nikki Perez. Look, they are my sisters. Natasha, of course, she's on there.
Yes.
Look, I got all my girls here with me now. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, Gail says, very good, informative talk. No more buying expensive deodorant.
Oh, D is on there too. Shout out to D.
So thank you all. And so again, we are the accountable
studio. What are you doing?
Huh?
My portion. What's your favorite word? What's your least favorite word? We're not gonna do that.
I'm sorry. God. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. This is the fun part of the evening.
I forget. I'm sorry. Okay. We are now at the point of the show where clearly Cheron forgot that Tasha does a round robin similar to Inside the Actors Studio, where she has a round robin of questions to the doctor. So take it away, Tasha.
All right. This is going to be great. What's your favorite word?
Oh, man, you hit me with the hardest question up front. Man, I don't know, phenomenal. I think that word is something that describes Black women, in my opinion. And it is something that we should all strive to be.
Phenomenal women.
All right. What's your least favorite word?
Hate. I don't like that word. And I tell my children, do not use that word. I mean, it's similar to a curse word, because you shouldn't hate anybody. For obvious reasons. So hate is definitely not something, even though I may sincerely and genuinely dislike you. Hate is off the table.
All right. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
I would say being able to have an intellectual conversation. I think that that's very important, whether it's with, a girlfriend, your husband. Being able to have an intellectual conversation can bring you in on multiple levels, So I think that that's very important, and it's something that obviously I like.
All right. What turns you off?
You know what? A know-it-all. Someone who you cannot talk to because they know something about everything. I'm like, bruh.
Really?
No, you really don't know. And even if you feel like you do, you shouldn't say it all the time. So I think a know-it-all is just, man.
Yeah. All right. What's your favorite curse word?
Shit. I try not to say it because I have 3 young children, but man, sometimes you can't help but say it. About a plethora of things. That's probably my favorite, I guess.
All right. What sound or noise do you love?
You know what? I would say a baby's breath when they're sleeping. That kind of. I love it. And first of all, because they're sleeping, but, there's really something angelic about it.
Hello. Yeah. What sound or noise do you dislike? I mean, it says hate here, but that's a strong word. So dislike.
The nails on a chalkboard, that little screeching. I can't stand that.
Yeah. All right. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Man, look, I'm gonna tell y'all this, and y'all gonna think this is super funny. But in my next life, if there were such a thing, I would be a rapper.
Okay.
I mean, y'all probably don't think so, but I would probably have mad bars. Like I would be killing it. I wouldn't be able to freestyle now. Somebody have to write my stuff, but I would be a rapper.
Okay, I like it. What profession would you not like to do?
What would I not like to do? Now that we're in virtual school, I don't think that I am too great of a teacher.
You on that? Who or what holds you accountable?
My family, for sure, particularly my children and my husband. No matter how great or how terrible you think you are, they always kind of bring you back to baseline either way. So yeah. I would definitely say that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And if you believe in heaven, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Man, I'm telling y'all, don't make me start crying on here now. Man, that would be it. That would be it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That was fun. That was definitely
fun. That was definitely fun.
I'm so glad. I am so glad.
She'll be MC Princess in her next life.
Man, we can start talking about heaven. I done got a little teary-eyed up here. I went from a rapper to heaven, man. I'm telling you what.
All right. Well, listen. If you want to follow Tasha and I, the Accountability Queens, feel free to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We're here just about every Saturday at 6 o'clock with someone special, just as brilliant as Dr. Princess Williams. I want to thank you again on behalf of Tasha and I.
Oh, you went on mute, Cheron.